Hi guys, hi my beautiful people, how are you doing? I hope you guys are doing okay. Thank you so much guys for coming back to my channel, and if you're new here in this channel, you're very much welcome. My name is Monica, this is my channel, and I'm so glad that you stepped by, and I'm glad that you stopped to watch this video. This information is going to be to be of help to you, and if this information is not going to be relevant to you, could you kindly share with someone that is going to benefit, because we are here to spread information. Spread this information with whoever you think is going to help and whoever you think is going to benefit from this information. So guys, in today's video I want to dive into the video already. I don't want to talk too much because this information is going to be very important. Today I'm going to talk about a visa that is people are not talking too much about it. People are not talking enough about it, and this visa is called 408. Now, if you've been in Australia, probably you've heard about it, probably not. And I would say that most people have not heard about it because I've sampled a group of people, I've sampled a number of people and asked them, do you know about this visa? And most of them are like, I think 90% of them, they're like, no, we've never heard about that visa. We don't even know it exists. And actually, to be sincere, so many people don't know much about visas. People are so much interested in the only visa they are in. They do not, and I understand. Sometimes I never cared to know what other visas are there, what other options I could go into, until when you're cornered, until when you don't have any other option. That is when you start looking for options. So for me, I came to know about this visa last year because my student visa was going to complete and I didn't have an option, and I didn't want to go back to school, because in Australia, if you cannot live here illegally, if you don't have a visa, you pack your bags, you go back to your country. And that was not part of that was not my option. That was not anywhere close to being to my options. So I knew that at some point I wanted to get into a certain visa. I didn't know which. I didn't qualify for a common visa that people go into, which is the graduate visa, the one that people go into after studying in Australia. I did not qualify for that because I did not study for 2 continuous years in Australia. So I was disqualified for that. So the only other option for me was either I go back to student visa, which I didn't want to, and then I met someone. Let me tell you, it is very important to talk to people. Go out there, talk to people, ask them questions. I was just at work, and then I met this lady, and we were talking. We were just going out, taking our clients to the beach, and then it was my first time meeting this lady. So we started talking. She was from Kenya. We started talking, and then I don't know how the story of visas came through. Then I started telling her that my visa is going to finish, and I'm thinking of going back to a student visa. I think my visa was going to finish in a few months. Then she told me there's this visa called 408, and I was like, wow, I didn't know that visa existed. Then she told me, just go and Google, go and on the Home Affairs website and check for yourself. Then I was like, wow, I'm going to check. When I came home, I checked on the internet, and I was like, wow, this visa exists. Now, this is the thing she told me. She told me herself she made the application through an agent. So she told me, don't even go through an agent, go and do the application alone. Like myself, she actually told me to make the application myself, and I was so scared. I was like, no, what about if I mess? What about if I submit something that is not that they do not accept? I was so scared. But then I thought, okay, it's a great chance for me to know how these things work. And trust you me, I made the applications myself. This is the thing. This visa was introduced following COVID. So people were struggling with visas, and visas were ending people did not know which visas to go into. So the government introduced this visa following COVID for those people. So this visa basically is meant to help people extend their stay to help with the shortage in Australia. Now, this visa has different streams. So the main stream that we are going to talk about today is called pandemic stream. This pandemic stream is only available for people who are onshore in Australia. This visa, you can stay in Australia for about 6 months to 12 months. If you're in a critical profession, if your profession is in the critical section, which will be like health section, chef, disability workers, if you're in that section, you get this visa for 12 months. And if you're in other sections which are not so much critical, you get the visa for 6 months. This is the cool thing about this visa. This visa application is free. You don't pay any fee for this application, so it's totally free. You don't need to go to an agent. You can do it yourself. I did it myself. I'm a witness. I did it myself, and I got the visa, and it is very quick. I got the visa within a week. Now, there's a couple of things to note for this visa. So this visa, you're only eligible to apply for this visa if your other visa is going to expire within 90 days, that is 3 months, or if your visa expired in the last 28 days. So if your visa is less than 90 days, the current visa you're holding, if the expiry date is more than 90 days, you're not eligible to apply. You can only apply for this visa 90 days to your visa expiry date. Now, there's a few things to note for you to apply for this visa. The eligibility criteria. Now, number 1, you have to hold a substantive visa that is expiring in the next 90 days. That one I've mentioned. And then the visa you're holding before was having a work right. So the visa you're having before applying for this 408, it must have working rights. So this is what I want to say. The visa you're holding currently, or the visa you have before you apply for 408, it must have working rights. So of course there are visas which don't have working rights. Like I think the tourist visa, check that, I'm not 100% sure. But the visas that we know normally that have working rights are like student visa, graduate visa, all those kind of visas, they have working rights. So if you have a visa that has working rights, that means the working rights will transfer directly to this 408 visa. The other thing is this: you have to be in Australia when applying. And then the other thing is, I've said the visa application is free. You have to have an existing job offer. So this is something else that is very important. When you're making that application, I can remember vividly, they asked me for my job contract. So of course I was not getting a new job. I was in my other role, like the role, my job, right? I had a job. So they only asked me to send a job contract, a number of pay slips, just to show that I'm working in that company. And basically that's all they ask. And of course a number of details of your employer. They'll ask for ABN of your employer, which is easy to get in your payslip. Then there's a couple of details they'll ask, which is very straightforward. This is completely straightforward. Then the other thing that you have to remember is that you can add your dependents in this visa. So if you have family, of course your immediate family, wife, children, or husband, or de facto, if you guys have proof that you've been living together, you can add them in this visa, and they get the exact same working rights as you. But this is something to note about the dependents. They must be living in Australia. You cannot add your dependents in this visa if they are offshore. So they have to be onshore. That is the catch of this visa. And then the other thing is you must maintain a health insurance. We all know that if you're having a student visa, you have to provide health insurance. If you're having the graduate visa, you'll have to provide health insurance. And this is not an exception. This visa, you have to provide the insurance, and it is not the normal overseas student health cover. So I think this the insurance is called overseas visitors health cover. You just call the provider that you're happy to work with, or the provider that you're happy to use. You just call them and explain to them that you're getting into this visa, and they'll direct you, they'll show you, they'll tell you which is the right cover. And then after you get the cover and the number and the cover details, you just upload it to when applying for this visa, because they'll ask you for the health insurance. The other thing to note about this visa is this: you will not be asked for medicals or health checks if you've been living in Australia for the past 12 months. You'll only be asked to provide the medicals or the health checks if you've traveled out of Australia, in and out of Australia, in the last 12 months. So that is a point to note. The other thing is that you'll have to provide a character check. That is, of course, the Australian Federal Police check. That is pretty straightforward. You'll just apply that online. Then you go to the police, submit the fingerprints. I think it's the same for when applying for permanent resident. You need to provide the Federal Police check. It is straightforward. You just go on the internet, on the Google or on their website, and just make the applications and pay a couple of bucks, like I think it's $49 the last time I applied. So it is nothing major, it's nothing big. On that page, when making the applications, you'll have to provide a genuine temporary entrant. So this is to show that you're genuine. So you'll have to write a paragraph, explain why you want to be granted this visa, explain why you think you deserve this visa. It is quite straightforward. You just explain that you're working. For example, if you're working in health sector, you'll say there's lots of shortage, and you believe and you know that you're going to be of importance to the facility you're working in, or majorly or for Australia, of course, because you're working for Australia. And so you just explain why you believe and you think you deserve to get this visa. And then the other thing is that you can travel in and out of Australia while you're in this visa however you want. If you want to travel 1,000 times in and out of Australia, you can do that with no restrictions. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching this episode. We are going to end this video here. I hope this video has been informative. It has been of help to you. If this video is not relevant to you, please consider sharing it with someone who is going to benefit from the information I've shared. And if you have any questions, don't forget to leave them on the comment section, and we are going to discuss. Let me know what other topics you guys want me to cover, and be sure I'm going to cover them for you. Remember to subscribe if you've not subscribed. Remember to share my videos with your friends and family. Put a thumbs up, hit that notification bell so that all the time when I upload any videos, you'll be among the first people to watch the videos. So thank you so much, and bye. I'll see you on my next video. Bye.